Welcome y'all, West DIY Food Plot Pro. Thanks so much for joining us. Today I'm going to show you how to plant a small acreage food plot into soybeans. Wait. Everybody's gonna say, no, you can't do it. You absolutely can't do it. Don't even think about doing it. You better have 50 acres. I'm gonna have a 1 acre plot right here, and I'm gonna show you exactly how to do it. I'm gonna show you how I've done this many times. I'm gonna show you everything in the process, all the little details. So to start out with, this was a iron clay cowpeas, eagle forage soybeans, and straight ag beans plot. The problem with this is I planted these like I would plant an ag bean, okay? 130 to 140,000 population. Well, guess what the deer did to 130 or 140,000 population? They ate all the beans before they could get established. You can see back there, the cowpeas are doing just fine. The deer ain't eating them. I see an opportunity here. There's so much bad information about how to plant soybean food plots on small acreage, and there's just a million people that wherever you look and say you can't do it. It's just not possible. You can't do it. Don't try it. You don't have enough acres. The deer are going to graze it all the way down. One important note to mention, I'm not trying to get these beans up this high to make 60, 70 bushel soybeans. I don't care about the actual beans. They're not good for hunting in my area. All I want is high quality food out here all summer long. So we're the first week of June. I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna disc all this under if I can even disc it. We're in a drought. This ground is hard as freaking concrete. The cowpeas did just fine. They're great. They're looking really good through this drought, but the deer aren't eating them. So in my mind, I've already found out what I wanted to know in my test. The deer like cowpeas as good as they like the soybeans? No, not even close, not even a little bit. Maybe they'll eat them later on in the summer. I'm gonna leave a little bitty corner up here in cowpeas just to see what happens over the summer. Let's see if the deer really start hitting them when they start getting big. My guess is they're gonna stay on these soybeans. So y'all stick with me. I'm gonna take this field and we are going to transform it into a broadcast soybean plot with a disc. I've already showed you how to do it with a tiller. Now I'm going to do it with a disc. That's a 13-foot disc and it is struggling getting into the ground. So I'm going to disc it this way. I'm going to turn, I'm going to disc it this way. Try to disc that different ways. You cut the same way, you're not really doing an awful lot of good. So the more you can kind of switch those angles up, that helps cut when the ground is as hard as it is right now. Let's get to discing, guys. So I started off by putting 300 pounds of 9-23-30 fertilizer on this field. This field does not need nitrogen. All I'm planting is legumes. They make their own nitrogen through the rhizobia bacteria in the soil. So I don't need any nitrogen. Okay guys, so I disc it the long ways first, and now I've turned and I've disced it all this. I'm tickled to death with how this is disced up. This ground is hard as a freaking rock right now with this drought that we're in. I can't believe I've got it in this good a shape. I would have never guessed it would have been in this good a shape. It's not quite ready. You can still see a little bit of grass. I don't want that. I'm gonna go ahead and disc it long again, which is how I'm going to sow it. So I'm gonna hit it one more time with the disc, finish it up, and then I'm gonna go hook the PTO seeder on to this tractor, and I'm gonna show you how to seed this soybean plot to where it's gonna be able to hold off the deer for a significant amount of time, especially till those young soybean plants can get established. Okay guys, we're out here in the plot. Behind me here, I'm tickled to death with how well this ground worked up for as dry as what we are, and with the amount of grass that was on it. That's usually not a great combination, but luckily we're in a drought. The grass wasn't super tall, 6 inches or so. I've got the seeder on the tractor. I'm gonna go ahead and seed the soybeans in, and then I'm gonna disc them. But before I seed them, I wanna talk to you about something. This is what makes this process doable. Do not go out there and plant 130,000 seeds in a high density deer zone and expect for those soybeans to are gonna work, especially if you have no way of holding those deer off. What I'm gonna do here, I'm doing this the old way that I've done this for years. I have got 4 50-pound bags of soybeans in that spreader. So, according to my math, that's roughly 560,000 seeds for 1 acre of ground. You have to have the sheer volume out there when they show up, because they're gonna show up in big numbers when these soybeans are small and they're getting established. It's a very important part of the process of having enough seed out there. This is super high density deer zone. I would put this field right here up with anywhere in the country as far as the number of deer that live or in and around this farm. Don't listen to the naysayers that say you can't do it. Watch this video. I'm gonna show you how I've done this for years. 130 to 150,000 is typically where we plant ag beans at, and we're putting 560,000 seeds down per acre on this broadcast plot. Let's get to it, guys. Okay, so we went over this entire field one time spread, and I've only used about half my seed, which is what I suggest to you. You don't want to get in too big a rush and dump your seed too quick, and then you're gonna have thin spots, super thick spots. You'd rather set that low and double, triple, quadruple spread it, whatever you have to do to make sure you got a good, even spread pattern on your seed. I've got about half left. What I'm gonna do, I could very easily see my tractor tracks in this worked up ground. I'm gonna split the middles on every single one, and I'm gonna keep going over right in between where I've already been. That's gonna ensure that I've got a really good double spread on this entire field. The most important part is get enough beans out here to hold your deer off. This is gonna look ridiculously thick. When I first did this several years ago and it worked, it just made sense to me. Okay, if 20 deer can eat 130,000 seeds, and they usually won't eat every one of them. Usually a few will get through. I got to thinking, I'm like, they're eating 130,000. Why not just give them 600,000? See what happens. And it worked. One thing to mention, if you're using treated or untreated, doesn't make any difference, but use whatever you have all in one. Don't put some treated, some untreated, because what's gonna happen, your untreateds are gonna be up in 3 or 4 days. Then your deer are gonna get half of them, and they're gonna wipe them out more than likely, and it's gonna be another 4 or 5 days till your treated ones come up. And at that point, you've really ruined what you were trying to do, is trying to get 500,000-600,000 seeds up at one time and growing where the deer can't graze them off that fast. We're gonna finish spreading this field, and we're gonna go disc her in. Okay, there's what she looks like. You can see my tracks where I split my middles all the way across, and see just how many soybeans are in there. And it's like that over the entire field. And I know somebody is gonna say, good 9/11, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever seen. No, in my opinion, what's the most ridiculous thing that I've ever seen is folks not being able to raise the biggest and the best summer annual that you can possibly raise, because everybody tells you that deer pressure is too much for them. This is how you do it right here. I've done this multiple times. I have a lot of confidence that this is gonna work. We're gonna go and hook the disc back up. This is not gonna germ. No way, no how. There is nowhere near enough moisture in this soil to get this to germ. So it is just gonna sit there. It's gonna be just fine and dandy until it gets enough moisture. Another thing that I had a question yesterday, I'm really glad he asked. Something like this or a tiller. Can you take your disc or your tiller? Is this gonna damage these seeds? And the answer is no. You can go ahead and put this down just as I did, work your ground, put the soybeans down, and then take your tiller or your disc and work this in, and that is going to be no trouble at all. All right, boys and girls, we got the disc hooked up. We've already disked about 20 feet. This is really important, especially in soybeans, is checking your depth. Make darn certain you are not putting these things down here 3 and 4 inches deep, because they are not going to come up well. Just need to be covered. That's all they really need to do. Maybe you just found a way to find them. I was just kind of going like this. There's one right there. That's a good depth. There's another one. So they're just underneath the surface. I'm really good with. I don't see a ton of beans on top of the ground. There's a few, but there's gonna be a few. Thank you guys for coming along with me on this broadcast soybean food plot. I really hope this video has been helpful to you. Thank you so much to all you guys that are liking, that are commenting, that are subscribing and helping the channel grow. I really appreciate each and every viewer. And if you haven't smashed that like and subscribe button, go ahead and do that. Thank y'all. Y'all have a great day.